Okay, if we can have everyone take your seats, we'll go ahead and get started reviewing the options. This is the fun part, the options. You can look at what is going to apply to you, either what single option or what combination of options. And let me apologize in advance. I am overcoming and struggling with a little bit of a health challenge. I was telling someone in the bathroom, I think my granddaughter gave me a nice gift. I already dealt with this issue earlier in the year and thought I was done for the season, but I'm on the upside of it. So I spent the last weekend in the bed, but we're recovering now. So good. So I may occasionally have to clear my throat, cough, and so forth. We need to ask everybody for a favor, big time favor. Please, 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 please. If you have a question or a comment, please raise your hand and wait for the mic. The reason why we're asking you to do that, because this is being streamed live and also being recorded for other people's benefit. So we want everyone to get the benefit of your questions and comments. So if you would, just raise your hand, take a moment. We got a couple people on both sides with microphones to bring the mic to you. Please use the mic so that your comment, your question can be recorded, and the people that's streaming live can also get the benefit of it. There's been several great comments made in response. That's what I like about the networking part of this. Several great comments have been made throughout this process. We want everybody to be able to benefit from those comments and questions. So please, if you would, help us out and raise your hand and use the microphone. Should be a clicker around here somewhere. There it is. So again, we'll go over the EPP, Emergency Preparedness Plans options. Again, this is on your handouts. I know some of the people are not able to see all the details of the screen, so you can follow along with us with your handouts as well. This is the emergency plan template that TCEQ created to help you submit your plan. The part I want to stress here is for all affected utilities except Harris and Fort Bend and Harris County. So make sure when you actually start completing your template that it has those words on it. That ensures that you do have the correct template for your county. Again, it has to be on it. Oh. So this is the cover page. Of course, you have your water system name. Use the name, and I recommend you use on the name is use the name that's in Drinking Water Watch. Anybody not familiar with Drinking Water Watch? When I say Drinking Water Watch, anybody not familiar? So use the name that TCEQ has for your water system, Drinking Water Watch, so that it matches when they get your plan in. Public Water System ID number, again, we should all know that, but if you don't, it's in Drinking Water Watch. If you are one of the many types of district, municipal utility district, water control and improvement district, freshwater supply district, special purpose utility district, all of those districts have a district number. So use that, include that number as well. And then of course the county, your primary source. If you serve multiple counties and that field allows you to put them both in there, go ahead and put them both, but be sure to put the primary. CCN number, Certificate of Convenience and Necessity. Anybody don't know what that is? Does anybody not have a CCN? Okay, good. So everybody, a few have. Sir?
I don't know if I do or not.
All right. So just for everybody's benefit, a CCN is a Certificate of Convenience and Necessity. Thank you. Certificate of Convenience and Necessity. You get to say these acronyms for so long you forget what they stand for. But yeah, that is issued by the Public Utility Commission. Depends on how long you've had it. Yours may say TCQ on it, but that's what gives you the authority to actually operate as a utility to sell water for a fee. And so you have a number for that. It's a 5-digit number. If it's a water utility CCN, it starts with a 1. If it's a sewer utility CCN, it starts with a 2. So in a lot of cases, y'all are going to have both. Who's the owner of the system? And then who's the preparer? This is the person that's very important that TCEQ can reach out to if they have a question about your emergency response plan, preparedness plan. Title, organization, expected completion date. And then you'll select which option or combination of options that you're going to choose for your plan. You can circle them if you're doing it in your computer in Microsoft Word. It has a draw function. You can draw a circle around it. You can highlight it. You can bold it. In some way indicate to TCEQ which option you are choosing. And then a short explanation is a small field right here, a short explanation of what the purpose is. I'm submitting my emergency preparedness plan in compliance with Senate Bill 3, something very short. And then, of course, signature, title, and date. The updates will occur only after you have received an approved plan from TCEQ. Then, for some reason, you change it. Say you choose one option, and then later on you decided to go with a different option, or you're going to change something else in your plan. You're going to add 2 generators instead of 1. Any change to your plan, you would still do an update and resubmit that to TCEQ. But for your first submission, you won't have any information there. All right, options 1 through 7. So option 1 is a permanently installed auxiliary generator. It means it's fixed, it's on a pad, it's not set to be moved. That's one of your options. Calculating your power needs. So if your mechanical horsepower is 10 and you want to convert it to kilowatts, because everything that we do regarding the generator's load and measurement at your facility is going to be in kilowatts. So you want to convert the horsepower to kilowatts. Again, look at your owner's manual. It may already be converted for you, but if not, you're going to divide the horsepower value by 1.341, and that'll generate the number of kilowatts for you to calculate your power needs. And this is a nice handy-dandy calculator from converting amps to kilowatts, and this is the website where this came from. You can also do an internet search and probably find others. But this particular site has a variety of calculators on it. So in this case, you're putting in your DC, the current amps, 2.5, the voltage, 110, and then hit calculate. And so it's going to generate your results on how much kilowatts is needed, how much the wattage, and also the milliwatts. But again, kilowatts is what we're focusing on for the purpose of the EPP. Fuel calculation. So a lot of your generators, this is a rule of thumb, calculate an estimated rate of 7% of your kilowatt rating. So for example, if your kilowatt rating generator, your generator is 100 kilowatt, then that would be 7 gallons per hour. One of the items you're going to have to provide in your EPP. Question? Yes.
Did you mention that for the people that are online, in the handouts link, there is an example EPP folder, and in that we have the example EPP that we're going to be walking through.
Okay.
Since all the slides do not reference every page of this template that we're walking through, people online need to pull that up so you can kind of follow along with what we're talking about.
Okay.
Before we get too far ahead, I just wanted to make sure we mentioned that.
Okay. Thank you. Question?
Just a little warning, I ran these traps myself a while back and said, okay, we need a 150 kW generator, went to my engineer, showed him what I'd put together, and he says, yeah, but you're ignoring the startup load, and you need to factor in some additional power because startup loads will bite you. And it was like 25 or 35% more.
So everybody catch what he was saying is that there's some other, like I said, this is a general guide, and yes, it's going to be very specific changes for your particular generator. Again, number one, consult with your owner's manual, or If you don't have the owner's manual, most manufacturers these days have it available on their internet site. So again, this is a general guide, but yeah, you want to use specifically what's going to be used for your particular generator, because in your emergency preparedness plan, one of the metrics you have to provide is how many days of fuel you have for that generator based on the amount of fuel storage you have. So some people are going to have just the storage in the generator itself. Others will have the fuel storage in the generator and an auxiliary fuel tank as well. So you have to calculate your days of storage you have based on how much fuel that generator will use per hour under full load. How many people operate their generator on full load when you do a test? Your weekly. How many people do a weekly test of a generator? Okay, good. Most people do that. Friday at 12 noon, is that for general standard for everybody? Is it operated on the full load during the test? Correct. No, it's rare unless you specifically has yours set up for that. The general tests do not operate on the full load. Storage. How much storage do you have in your storage capacity? So again, if you have an example of a rectangle that's 2 by 2 by 2 by 5, then that's going to equals 20 cubic foot of storage space. 20 times 7.48 gallons, which is the gallons per cubic foot, is going to yield 149.6, or rounded up, 150-gallon tank. Okay, so we're talking about how big is the storage capacity in that generator and or auxiliary fuel tank. Okay, if you don't already know it, you don't have the owner's manual, this is a general guide to give you some guidance on how much storage you have. And from there, you can calculate the days of storage. Option 2, so this is for shared and auxiliary generator capacity for one or more affected utilities. So in this case, option 2A, your water system is going to rely on your provider during an extended power outage. So I actually have this case. I serve on the board of a mud district in just north of Harris County, or northern Harris County. And we don't have a well, we don't have distribution, we're distribution line, but no pumps, no treatment, any of that. We get 100% of our water from a neighboring district. In our case, what we decided to do, this was many years ago, but we decided to partner with them and share in the cost of purchasing a generator. And also an auxiliary fuel tank to provide water. By the way, during Erie, we did not lose water, didn't lose pressure or anything because of that. So we kind of thought ahead of it. But we're going to do option 2A. We're going to rely 100% on them to provide our water. And then we modified our contract because of that sharing of the generator capacity, that they have to provide water service to us during an emergency. So that's in the actual contract. So if you're in that situation where you don't have production capacity, you don't have treatment capacity, storage capacity, you just get 100% of your water supply from a neighboring utility, then 2A could be an option for you to consider. 2B is a member of Text 1 or other mutual aid agreements. Later on during the presentation this afternoon, we're going to go into detail about Text 1, who may not be familiar with it, so we'll go into more agreement there, but it's a mutual aid agreement where someone else agrees to be a possible source of providing a power source for you in the case of an emergency. Option 3 is negotiating a lease and contracting agreements. One word of caution about leasing and contracting agreements. Most of these leasing and contracting companies, all the ones I know are privately owned companies who are in the business of leasing generators. And what we have experienced in the past with other emergency situations where they may have 200 leases, but 100 generators. So when the situation actually manifests, this winter storm Uri shows up, they just don't have enough generators for everybody. It's just first come, first served basis. So if you're going to choose that as an option, again, with the focus being mission accomplishment, providing water to our customers 24/7, regardless of the weather circumstances, then you want to make sure that you're going to be one of the ones that actually get the generator when it's time for it. And of course, that agreement would also have to have a condition or provision in the agreement for notification or coordination with the Division of Emergency Management in the Governor's Office, which again in Texas is the Texas Department of Emergency Management. That's what we're talking about there. You also, on option 3B, you could have mutual aid agreement with other water providers. Maybe you are in South Texas, you want to do a mutual aid agreement with people in North Texas or West Texas, East Texas. Again, making sure you consider, can they actually provide you the power you're going to need at the time you need it? Again, a lesson learned from Winter Storm Uri is that people couldn't travel. The roads were not safe to travel. And so even though you might have had that agreement, they just couldn't fulfill it. It was impossible to fulfill. But that is an option if you can work it out in a way where it's going to satisfy your power needs during an emergency. Someone asked this, I think either during the break or right before the break. Use of portable generators. The key here is that it must have quick connect system in place. During an emergency, there won't be time typically for you to call out an electrician to try to come in and make the connection for you. So you must have the quick connect already installed. But yes, that is an option. If you want to have trailer mounted generators and you're going to take them on site at the time of the incident or you need power, that is certainly an option as long as it has the quick connect option. Here's some examples of quick connects. So a good way to think about it is just plug and play. You're going to bring out the generator, plug it in, and you're good to go. Again, a word of caution to those, just like the permanently installed generators, those need to be tested as well on a regular basis. One thing we learned from Winter Storm Uri, we all have a lot of the big components in mind, and we make sure those are working. But it was those little bitty washers and things that caused the havoc this time, those things that froze up on us, and then when you tried to get it to work, it wouldn't work. So lessons learned there. Option 5, the use of on-site electrical generation or distributed generation facilities. I was doing some research on this over the weekend, and I found a document that EPA published on power resiliency. That was the title of it. It's published in 2019, and it has a huge list of various options. By the way, we would be more than welcome, I guess, I'll provide it to TRWA, and then they'll have some way to distribute it to the emails. If anybody wants that, you can request it. But it has some several power generation options in it on site, like solar panels, wind turbines, generation, microgrids, and others. All options for you to provide your own on-site generation. So again, you're not dependent upon the electrical grid. Hardening the electrical transmission and distribution system serving the water system. A good example is that if you can work with your transmission distribution utility and have them bury your electrical feed, if you're doing electrical feed so it's not subject to the freeze and so forth. If it's natural gas and those things, there's ways to harden it. A lot of that's going to be subject to, though, the corporation of the transmission distribution utility, because they're the ones that own the actual facility. And then we talked about this one earlier, a small right-angle drive. Of course, if you use option 7, it would have to be combined with some other option, because that would only run your well. And this, for this option, it has to already be in place. You can't go out and install it today. It has to be in place as right now and approved by TCEQ already. But it is an option in combination with other options. We'll look at some diagrams to show you in a moment here to show you exactly how that works.